Hey kiddos, this is our last week looking at fractions and decimals and their equivalencies. Remember that we need to make sure that the last digit is in the place value that says its name. So for this one, we want that 7 in 67 to be in the hundredths place. 100 has 2 zeros, which means the hundredths place is the second space after the decimal, 67 hundredths. Popping over here, we need our 2 to be in the tenths place, which is the first space after the decimal. Coming down here, we have a VIP situation. If it's in front of the fraction, it stays in front of the decimal. We need the hundredths place to be represented. So that 3 goes in the second place or the hundredths place. Another VIP in front of the fraction stays in front of the decimal. Tenths place is the first space after 1 and 8 tenths. Coming down here, keep your VIP in its proper place. I need a 1 in the tenths place for decimal 1. Right here, I have a 9. He's going to stay in front of the decimal. And I need this 1 in the hundredths place. Be careful. Don't forget your place saver. The hundredths is the second place. 2 zeros, 2 spaces. We need that 0 in between. Otherwise, we have 9 and 1/10. All right, kiddos, I gave you the decimal. I wanted you to write it as a fraction. We have a VIP. It stays in front of the fraction. Over here, I have a 4 in what place? In the tenths. It's in the first. Here, I don't have any VIP situations, but I have a second place value, which tells me we're talking about hundredths. How many hundredths do I have? 22. Coming over here, we have a definite VIP. I have 2 spaces, which is the hundredths. Oop, this is a fraction. How many hundredths do I have? 75. I have a 9 in the tenths place, first place value. 1 space tells me tenths. How many do I have? 3. VIP. 2 spaces is 100. How many do I have? 94. Over here, VIP. 2 spaces is 100. How many do I have? 11. 1 space is a tenth. How many do I have? 7. Coming down here, 1 space is a tenth. How many do I have? 6. VIP stands in the front. 2 places is 100. How many do I have? 77. Over here, 1 VIP. 2 places is 100. How many do I have? 19. 1 place is a tenth. How many do I have? 2. Any questions on this first page? Please bring them with you to class. All right, sweet faces, we have been doing some stretching, and I thought it would be appropriate to see how we did with these. So if going from 10 to 100, we add a 0, we're going to do the same thing on the top. 8 tenths is 80 hundredths. Coming over here, if going from 100 to 10, we drop a 0, we're going to do the same thing. 40 hundredths is 4 tenths. Drop a 0, 10. Add a 0, 100. Add a 0, 20. Add a 0. I'm sorry, we should think of it going backwards. Drop a 0, 1. Questions? Bring them to class. All right, kiddos, here's another stretchy. I gave you in tenths as your benchmarkers, but we have hundredths, but we know that just means add a 0. So I have 21, 22, 23. You get the point with me. 27 hundredths would be right here. Over here, we have, this would be 10. So we have 1/10. 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, bingo, 5 tenths. Coming down here, add our zeros. We have 31, 32, 33, 34, all the way out to 38 hundredths. Over here, we have 1/10, 2, 3, 4, over to 9 tenths. We have hundredths, so this would be 81, 82 hundredths would be right there. And then another tenth. 3 tenths would be right there. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. All right, sweet faces. The challenge. This is a challenge. Determine the sum or difference. Well, first, make a match. Add them up. Remember, don't change the denominator. 50 plus 8, 58. Make a match. 7 plus 30, 37. Don't change the denominator. Make a match. Over 100. Let's subtract 90 minus 6 is 84. Over here, make a match. 58 out of 100. Make a match. 50 minus 2 is 48 out of 100. Make a match. Subtracting 71 out of 100. That brings us to the end, sweet faces. Any questions? Bring them to class. Have a good weekend.